Good people, ladies and gentlemen, it's your favorite Moo Boy's favorite Moo Boy, Peanut.
And it's your girl, Prin. Hey, lovelies. And we are Candid Conversation with Peanut and Prin.
Peanut and Prin. She almost forgot, y'all, because she real excited tonight. So this going to be a great joint. It's going to be a lovely joint. You know what I mean? But, honey, before we jump into it, you want to, introduce the guests?
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I have to join on the screen my sister from another mister, my homie, my ace boo coon, somebody that know where some of the bodies is buried, Miss Kia.
I didn't approve that last part, but how y'all doing? How y'all doing?
I didn't approve it either.
Oh, that was deep. But thank you. Glad to be here. Oh, let me join you in the toast. Cheers to a great conversation.
So this is gonna be a hell of a conversation. This is gonna be interesting. I'm gonna let y'all run point on it because when I saw the video, I was like, "This nigga tripping for sure."
Okay, so wait, honey, you gotta tell them what video you talking about because they don't know.
Well, I don't know the dude name. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to know.
Are we name dropping? Because if we name dropping, I got the
No. We ain't gonna give him no shine. He got enough. He don't need none of this. But he was talking about women dating, in reference to the whole sex side of dating and what hours apply to not giving up the box. Did I say box?
You did say
box. Mm-hmm. So I believe he said something in reference to if you go out after 5, that's a chance of giving that box away or that guy expecting to get some of that box. It was nonsense. I'm gonna let y'all put it in the context though, because I'm sure both of y'all looked at it more than what I did. When I heard, I was like, "This nigga tripping." So we're gonna jump into it today, and the name of this one here is gonna be shit that make you say, "What?"
Exactly what I said.
So we're gonna let Miss K explain it because she had some comments for us. So she all in it. Tell us about what you saw.
Where do I begin with this one? First of all, what happened to boundaries? But I think this one for me struck a nerve because I'm always asking myself, how do I define dating? What are my personal expectations? What is the person looking for from me? So then when this guy just came out and clearly said, oh, the minute you agree to a date after 5, the box is open for grabs. No haps. No haps. That struck a big nerve with me because, we're all grown. We got different lives going on, different situations. Some people are single parents. Some people work late. There's just so much that plays a part in this one. So that was just like a blanket statement that went way left for me.
Right. Way left. So for all the people that don't know, because, everybody don't speak our lingo or our language, our slang, when we say the box, we're talking about that pocketbook. Okay, let me break that down. Mm-hmm. When we say that pocketbook, you know what I'm talking about? We're talking about that goody good. We talking about that snatch. Mm-hmm. That hot bread and go get it. You know what I'm talking about? Or, for the people that don't live where we live, we're talking about, your sexual parts. You go out to eat with me, you got to give me a little bit of that cookie. We can do this all night long. So, but when we say box, that's what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. He won't put his hand in your box and get something out of it. For sure.
Yeah, hand. So. Yeah. Like you said, that could go on and on.
Yeah, we can do that all night long.
Oh goodness!
I don't know. I'd be interested here though. Like, what was your first impression on it? Because as a guy, the thing. There's the whole double standard issue. So of course, the way we view things or our behaviors are looked at completely different. That is, and then if I was to invite you out for a lunch date, it's perfectly fine.
Right.
But if I call you after 5 and just say, hey, I just got home, what you doing? Oh, you ready? But the wheels start turning because now you're like, okay, well, what exactly are we going to do? So from a guy's perspective, I think you need to open and say how you felt about that.
Yeah.
Well, how I felt. First of all, I think it was all about shock value. I think he was just trying to get people to look at it, get some likes, and get the people to talking. Because, like you said, the way the world is set up, I don't know anybody that gets home before 5.
Right.
First of all, so
Right.
if you give it up the box after 5, then I guess that box gonna be dry. You know what I'm saying? Because you ain't gonna you never gonna be home before 5. You must be a born again because the box it's still gonna be wrapped up. Ain't nobody gonna wrap that box. So I just think he was doing it for likes. You know what I'm saying? To get people to pay attention and get people to talking. Now it's a good conversation to have because what you brought up were boundaries. So it makes you look at it from a real perspective as opposed to just the shock value of it. So when I heard that, I was like, okay, bullshit. He playing around. He got to be playing around. If he was serious, Lord help him. He need to figure something out. But I like the boundaries part of it that you said.
Okay.
Because it forces grown people to have a conversation.
Well, now, wait a minute. Let's be clear and let's be honest.
Okay.
There's a whole lot of people out there that they start dealing with each other and there are no boundaries. They're like, people think that they can just show up at your house unannounced. And what made me think of that is, think about how many times you might want to do something special or somebody want to do something special for you. So they might show up at your job with some flowers and the sentiment is nice. But what if you've experienced having a stalker? What if you've been through, some trauma in your life and all of a sudden this person shows up at your job and it initially does seem like, oh, he came over to make me dinner. Oh, he brought me flowers. Those things are great. But what if they actually infringe upon your privacy? When does that become okay? And when do you express, say, okay, so this is where I am and this is how I received what you did. Like women, to me, I'm not sure that they're really having those conversations. They'll tell their girlfriends, girl, you won't believe that nigga showed up in my house. But are they really having the conversations with the guys to say, I understand that you were trying to be sweet, but in being sweet, you also kind of overstepped something that I'm not quite comfortable with.
Well, that's why I said, it takes for grown people to have a conversation. Because like you said, most people won't say it. So the woman might not say he infringed on her privacy or whatever the case may be because she don't want to run him off.
That's true. But you know what? I think sometimes we miss those red flag signals because when you first have a conversation, it's good. You just meet each other. You didn't recap where you met each other, what you had on, all that cutesy stuff. But somewhere in that conversation, you either open the door to kind of invite that person to learn more about your personality. It may be an issue, but still, I'm getting that first impression off of you. So if you're talking about, I love to go out every weekend, I got to find something nice to wear, a short skirt or something. It's the language you use to me that kind of opens that conversation. You know what I mean? So I think it's good to have boundaries, but I think sometimes, or at least this day and age, it's hard to have those conversations because rejection is real.
Right.
Let's be honest. Rejection is real.
When you say what you just said, though, me being a guy, if that were your personality, I'm not gonna shorty like the party. You know what I mean? You gonna put on something cute, she gonna go out. So I already know she want me to come through. Like it's a reaction to what you're doing. So I get that, and it's not.
What happens to being a party? Like, I mean, there was a season of life that I liked to party, but that didn't mean that I wanted to party with you or wanted you to party with my toys.
Well, I mean,
but you got to be careful on how you convey that. You know what I mean? I'm going out all the time, hanging out with my girls. We're catching up is one thing, but let's be honest. A guy hears a girl going to the club every single weekend. He's going to think she's all about fun. There's no serious business here. So his expectation probably will lower for that woman. Or I don't know. I mean, to me, that's the way it seems to play out today.
I mean, if I'm being honest, what you just said will change a man's whole perspective, right? So if I knew you were the party girl, the way I speak to you would be different from the way I spoke to somebody else because of what I thought of you initially. Like if I knew you went out to pot shot, you was probably out there shaking that ass this weekend, wouldn't you? But if you didn't present that to me, I would never say that to you because I don't see you as that person. So we, me being a man, we take the bait on what we see, what we're given. So how you present it determines the route that we take.
See, that makes me so sad because what happens when you just want to be, whatever version of you is, and why not actually have the conversation? Like, I can actually think of being in a place in my life where when I finally did have a babysitter, I wanted to go out. So if there was a guy that maybe I was talking to or, friends with, and maybe we were trying to see where the relationship was going to go at that time. And, he say, oh, what you do last weekend? And, I say, oh, I went to the club, had a good time. I don't want him to think that just means that I'm ratchet, I'm tacky, I was a hoe all night long. Like, that's not fair because truth be told, men get to sling it however they want to.
That's not true. But in your case, though,
how many gray sweatpants groups do we have on social media?
I should join one anyway. So in your situation, though, you got to pay attention to what you said. You said you finally found a babysitter, and you just want to go out and have fun. So if you've been talking to this dude, he already know you're not going out and partying because you ain't got no babysitter. So he don't look at you that way.
But there are some guys that the only time, like, they never actually got to know me, the person. Because that's another thing. When I was single and I was dating, you didn't get to know about my mommy life. You didn't even get access to that. So I might only call you on the way home from work. And then I would get to the house and be like, you know what? I got to go to the bathroom and get myself situated. I just got in the door and I would get off the phone. So you never heard me making dinner. You never heard me doing homework. So you don't even know that part of my life exists. I mean, you might know that I have a child, but like, that might not be our conversation because in my world, it's like, well, I'm not ready to bring you around my kid anyway. So why do we need to talk about that?
Hey, kid, you know what this is? She's spoiled. She's not spoiled. That's what that is. Ooh, Lord, girl,
I agree on a mommy level. Of course, I can relate there. But where I'll disagree is the level of transparency that we must have, we should have, we most likely never have during those initial conversations because, it's all excitement. You still revved up on that initial engagement. But like you said, if you're dating somebody for some time, you've had several conversations. You've already given up your, your morals, or, you've already kind of spoke to those things. So to me, that's where you define your personal boundaries. So you don't have to, come out and say it directly. Look, I'm not dating you after 6. I got to be home by such and such. we don't have to have the orthodox relationship. We just need to be able to communicate. Right. And I think that's just what's missing. And then that video was it was interesting. So I actually shared it with at least 3 male friends. And I chose 3 males that were different age levels. So one mid-20s, one 30s, and I think the other gentleman was maybe touching 50. So I said, okay, let me see what the different opinions. All agreed that you should not assume that you're going to get it. However, However, the 20-something said that although he does not expect it, going out after 5 to him does mean that he has some rights because it's late night. We could have chose a better time. There's always the weekend. It's how you utilize your time. And I said, interesting.
Yeah, he got a job.
Actually, he does.
Okay, cool. That's different. I ain't never heard that. I'm gonna have to.
I was surprised too to hear it from him, but he's more of a wiser young man, I would say.
Okay.
The 30-something was quite interesting. He went straight for it. Look, I know what I want. If that's what I want, she's going to know. It's going to already be explained. That's what I'm expecting.
So, but they had a conversation though.
Yeah.
So he had that conversation prior to them going out. So if she decides to move on with it, she already know what he wants.
True. Yeah, and that's true. And that's why I say those red flags are there, but we just don't see them because we go into it with the marital bliss when we're not married. You know, so
Coming soon.
The last the last gentleman, which happened to be, and I'm going to share this, my dad, I asked.
Okay.
He thought it was absolutely insane. Of course, because he's on a date when I asked the question and it was after 5. I didn't expect anything other.
Okay.
But he said it was absolutely ridiculous. But he also said that a woman's attire can also dictate that. So if I show up for that after 5 date, maybe that wasn't on my mind initially, but you show up and the back's out, the stomach's out, the cleavage is showing, my direction has changed. Versus if you show up in a Mary St. Clarence outfit and you coming from Bible study, I'm not expecting much. Maybe I'll take you to a dinner and jazz and I'm dropping you off, most likely by 8:30.
Right. Okay.
So I think there's some telltale signs there, but it was just interesting to hear different opinions on this one. For me, it was an automatic. That's ridiculous. Yeah. But there are clearly different views of dating and expectations. So I guess it varies.
Well, that's interesting because I haven't dated for a long time. Well, actually, that's a lot. I went on a date last week. We went to a movie. The movie was kind of good, right? It was kind of good.
The movie was good.
Yeah.
Was it after 5?
Was it after 5? Ooh. Whoa, let me
tell you. It had a ribbon on it.
It was way after 5. I'm trying to tell you. I was expecting something. So, but I haven't been dating in a while. So the 20-year-old, that's surprising to me.
It was, yeah, it was surprising.
That is very surprising to me. You know, but I'm trying to think back to what my mentality was when I was 20, and I guess I see it because if I hollered at you, it was already in play. The ball was in motion. I was out for the score in my 20s. Wow. So it didn't matter. It didn't matter what time it was.
On both hands.
Look,
no case.
It didn't matter to me what time it was. If you called me on your lunch break, hey, look here. Don't call me over there for nothing.
But see, that's another one that you hit on, though. Because if you look at the dating after 5, what about lunch breaks? So much can happen on a little 30-minute to an hour lunch break.
They wouldn't call nooners for nothing.
Let me tell you. You ain't hear nothing from me, but I understand what you're saying.
So I was trying to figure that one out. I was like, okay, so we just going to dismiss and bypass the whole lunch break because there's been some interesting lunches I've heard about. I heard about.
So how about this? In reference to dating and what old boy said, which was for me was absolutely ridiculous. The nutball. What are you guys' expectations? Like, what do you think? What's a proper time? What's the way to go about it? What works for you?
Prin, I'll let you touch that one first. Let me marinate on my words here.
Okay, wait. Repeat the question. Because I was halfway listening.
She ain't dated in so long, she don't even know. So I said it in reference to dating and what old boy said. We know what he said. I think that was totally ridiculous. But what works for you? As far as your boundaries, what you expect, you don't expect, how it's gonna go. Are there telltale signs when you trying to? I get all the signs, but we talking to the people.
Okay, so honestly, I'm gonna have to say I have always been very communicative. Like there was like a season of my life when I didn't say nothing. And I think that was the period of life that I was trying to figure it out. And then there was the life where I completely just changed. It was like I turned the leaf and was like, you know what? I don't want to deal with that. I don't have patience for that. I'm not interested in that. No, thank you. But I also think that is somebody who is comfortable with, if you don't like what I have to offer, then it's okay to move on. So people that are still in that place of they're worried about the rejection, I could see how they might put up with some stuff that I wouldn't put up with. You know what I mean? I mean, because that's the season. Like when I think about my early 20s, I definitely put up with some stuff that I really didn't care for, I didn't like, and they kind of helped groom me. So by the time I got to 30, I was like, oh no, thank you. No, it's okay. It's no. We don't need to do dinner, because I saw all of those red flags. I saw how they talk to women. I saw how every conversation somehow reverted back to a sexual content. I saw that, you could only take them to the go-go, but you couldn't, go anywhere else. I mean, so for me, it was all about just kind of figuring out where I am. But I think that's what women have to do. I think you have to figure out your own value. I remember somebody telling me, well, if you can't date yourself, if you can't spend time with yourself, you don't need to be dating nobody else. And when I first heard it, I was like, they tripping. Like, who want to do that? But when I now think about it, that's really when you figure out who you are as a person. You figure out what your likes are, your dislikes. You also figure out what your value and your worth is to yourself, because then you won't put up with somebody else and their shenanigans, whatever they may be. Or you might like what they putting down and say, oh, okay, I'm down for all of that. So that's my take.
Okay.
That was a good take, wasn't it?
It really was. It made me think about my take.
Lord Jesus. I'm glad I ain't got to answer this question.
Oh, you will. You next in line. On a serious note, I think for me, I'll start by saying today is so much easier to date and assess people, because social media puts everything out there, whether you like the perception or not. It's what it is. So I use that as my initial screening. I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking to make sure you don't got that middle finger up picture, serious turn off.
Right.
No.
You're too old for that, boy. You're too old for that.
And even at any level, it's just not justified to me. So I think for me, I at some point I had to take a step back and actually write my wants and dislikes down. Like, what were my deal breakers? What could I absolutely say, okay, maybe we can talk this out, and versus it's just not happening. And I think everybody needs to define what your deal breakers are, so that you know what your personal boundaries are. And then it's kind of like, once you're one with self about that, those things just don't happen, because you don't even allow them to get to that point. So for me now, it's the minute I see something, it's either, can we talk about this? Can we hash it out now? Or do we just need to realize it is what it is? And sometimes things are what they are. So I think that, go ahead, Print. That hit something. I seen the light bulb fester.
It's weird because, I'm sitting here and I'm listening to your response, and it made me think about how many people have not actually considered what their deal breakers are. Like, I personally think, because I got sons, so because I got boys, I love my nieces, my beautiful girls, but I got boys, and I've never heard a boy say what their deal breaker is. But I think it's important that both men and females determine what their deal breaker is, because sometimes guys end up in bad situations too.
Yeah, they have quick cutoffs too, though. Now, I ain't trying to, bash you over there in that corner, but I'm just saying, y'all have some quick cutoffs. A woman can do something and we're trying. A man may touch on something, and the minute he finds out it's not to his liking, oh, that's it. That's a wrap.
Yeah.
That's a wrap. We get no chances.
That is very true. And it's what was the episode we had the other day, honey? When we were talking about, it all refers to how you were raised. Right. So a lot of men view things in a sense of how they were raised. You know what I'm saying? So if I've seen somebody treat my mom bad, and I see a girl with similar traits, or if I've seen I had an aunt that's like, blah, 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 and I already know I don't like that. Once I see it, my cutoff time is quick. Our tolerance level for what we don't want is very simple. It's real easy. It's once you get to these heartstrings that things begin to get complicated. You know what I'm saying? For men. So it is very important for men, just like you all, to recognize what they want and what they don't want. But one of the biggest issues for men is being honest with themselves. Like 90% of the guys that I know don't look in the mirror. It's always somebody else. You know, but as a young man, we aren't taught to look in the mirror. You know, so nobody says, hey, hold up, you got to take accountability for yourself before you can blame somebody else. I didn't learn that as a boy or a teenager or early 20s. I actually learned that as a man when I got older. You know, when I was in a situation where I had to look at myself to actually make it better for myself.
Oh,
Understood.
You know what I mean? So
that made me feel all warm and fuzzy.
Oh, do you feel warm and fuzzy? I thought that was the wine.
Where my church fan?
So, you know, but when you look at it from that perspective, I understand why guys are the way they are. But I asked my son, my oldest, he's 18, about to graduate Laurel High School. Y'all get in there. I asked him the other day, like, what is it about you and these girls? Because he'll cut a chick off quick. And he's like, Dad, I just don't like the bickering and the arguing. But I know where he gets that from. If he's had somebody always in his ear, bickering and arguing, it reminds him of something that he don't like. So he shuts down. Once you present that to him, he cuts you off. Everything is based on where we all started. You know what I'm saying? How your dad raised you, honey, and the things that he taught you actually give you the vision to see what a man is doing and how he's acting. So when you see a certain thing, you're like, oh, my dad told me about that. I ain't fucking with him. Yeah, it all starts from back there. You know what I mean? So, but men, and I'm saying this as a man, we gotta learn to be a little bit more empathetic, not so rah all the time. Put our pride to the side and actually take the time to understand where a woman is coming from, because your lives are 360 degrees different from what we've encountered. You know what I'm saying? So, and most of the time, what you've encountered is from somebody like us.
And besides, they do say happy wife, happy life. So it's in your best interest to keep us happy, right?
That's a real thing, though. And in all honesty, that's a real thing. So the communication that we have, if I don't talk to her and we don't have these conversations and we're not honest about it, when shit hit the fan, I can't stand it. I got to run. But, you know, because we already know, there is no surprise. We're just like, oh, okay, cool. I heard her. That's cute, though. But, you know, we know the truth over here. That's cute, though. That's cute. You know what I'm saying? Live your life, girl. So, you know, we go through the motions, but that communication is the most important thing. You know how I always say, honey, communication is everything. You know,
it really is.
It's everything.
It can solve, it can lessen so many arguments. It can also even make you forget why you're even arguing. I don't know how many times I've done that one. You go in circles so many times, you're like, what are we talking about? Then you got to try to keep yourself angry because you didn't forget what the heck it was about. So yeah, I agree. Communication is everything. I think no matter what your situation is, relationship, work, home, life, whatever, communication is everything. And I think that would have definitely that already rules out the whole video that we watched.
It really does. It completely squashes it.
Yeah, if the discussion is had ahead of time, and I know you get off at 6, I ain't expecting to knock you off after 5, because you got things you got to do. Let's figure it out. You have your boundaries, I have mine. You have your situations, I have mine. If I like you enough and you like me enough, eventually we'll get to that. I'm gonna get that box. But you know, before we get to that, you know, if we can have a conversation about it, it's all good. Now, you know, but we're all good. We're all grown, so we're all good at seeing the signs. You know what I'm saying? And reading the signs. So if you call me after the cabaret at 2:00, I know what it is. Okay. There's no guesswork in there. Why you want me to come to your house at 2:30 on a Friday or Saturday night? Yeah, it ain't for breakfast. Let's be clear.
Well, clearly we could talk about this subject for a whole nother hour and dive into a whole bunch of other stuff. And so we want to thank you guys for watching. We want to thank Miss Kia for being on the episode with us this evening. Peanut, do you have any final words? That sounds so weird. Honey, do you have any final words?
Yeah, don't call me that no more. My final words, you know, y'all, communication is key. Boundaries is a big deal. discuss what you want. So if it is after 5, it don't turn into a date rape. That's crazy. Y'all check out Miss Kia. She got a lot of content, a lot of information. I see things coming in the future. So y'all keep your eyes open for that. And keep watching Candid Conversations with Peanut and Prim, man. We ain't going nowhere.
Make sure you guys are liking the videos, subscribing to get the updates, and also follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Key, did you have any last and final words?
Oh, transparency, be open, communicate. It's such an easy fix. That's it. It's so easy, cut and dry, to the point. That's all I got for you.
All right. Until next time, keep
Hold on. She got to give her social medias. We got to get in contact with Miss Kia. Come on, man. She dropping knowledge in here. Y'all got to get some of this information.
Oh, y'all want this tea, huh? You can find me on Instagram at One Eclectic Soul. Don't ask me where I got that name from, but One Eclectic Soul, because I am quite eclectic. You can also find me on Facebook at Miss Kia. I will share those links with you guys if you'd like to share them. And thank you for having me. It's been real. It's been fun.
Yeah, this is awesome. I like it.
Yes, it was a good chat. All right.